You're listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. The show that gives pastors and church leaders the clarity they need to protect their people, property, and ministry.
Welcome back to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. I'm your host, Ron Wadley with Insurance for Texans. We help pastors and church leaders protect their ministries with confidence, not confusion. We're continuing our series, Answers to Questions You Might Be Too Afraid to Ask About Your Church's Insurance. And today's question hits hard, usually after it's too late. Why didn't my insurance pay what I expected? If you've ever filed a claim and gotten a much smaller check than you thought you'd receive, you've likely run into something called a sublimit. Let's talk about what that means and how to avoid getting caught off guard. A church in Waco found this out the hard way. After a break-in, thieves stole thousands of dollars in sound equipment and computers. They had over $1 million in property coverage, so they thought they were fine. But when the claim check came, it barely covered half their losses. That's when they learned about the $10,000 sublimit on theft in their policy. Even with $1 million in total coverage, the insurer would only pay up to $10,000 for theft. That's when the church realized the fine print matters. A sublimit is a cap. It's a smaller limit inside your overall coverage. You might think your entire property limit applies to any claim, but sublimits carve out exceptions. Common examples include theft, which is capped at a small percentage of total coverage, electronics and sound gear, which is often limited per item, musical instruments, fine art, or stained glass. These items are restricted unless separately insured. And lastly, water damage or code upgrades are also often limited. So while your building might be insured for $1 million, certain types of losses might only be covered for a fraction of that. Sublimits can quietly shrink your claim in two ways. One is a total cap, such as $10,000 total for theft. The other is a per item cap. For example, $5,000 per electronic item. That Waco church got hit by both. Their soundboard was worth more than double the per item limit. Between both caps, their payout dropped fast, leaving them with thousands in uncovered costs. It's one of the most common surprises churches face after a claim. Insurance companies use sublimits to control payouts, especially with rising costs and frequent Texas storms. We're seeing tighter restrictions on theft, water and hail damage, electronics and ordnance, or code upgrades. Sublimits help keep premiums low, but they often leave churches underinsured for what they rely on most, the tools of ministry. There are several ways that you can avoid being caught off guard. Ask questions and review your policy to find out what losses have sublimits, whether they apply per item or per claim, and if you can raise or remove them. And if your church owns valuable movable property like instruments or electronics, ask your agent about inland marine coverage. It protects those items at their full value, even off-site, and avoids the limits hidden in your main policy. Sublimits aren't bad, they just need to be understood. But too often, they're buried deep in policy language, and churches don't realize it until it's too late. At Insurance for Texans, our True Texas Church Insurance Program helps churches uncover these hidden limits before disaster strikes. We review your policy line by line and make sure you actually know what's covered and what is not. So do you know if your church's policy has sublimits hiding in the fine print? If you're not sure, let's fix that before the next claim. Visit insurancefortexans.com to connect with one of our church insurance specialists. We'll review your coverage, explain your sublimits, and make sure your ministry is fully protected. And don't forget to pick up a copy of our book, The Promise of Certainty, at thepromiseofcertainty.com. It's your guide to clear, confident insurance decisions. I'm Ron Wadley, and this has been Faith Stewardship and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. Until next time, remember, stewardship starts in the fine print. Don't let a hidden sublimit surprise your ministry.
Thanks for listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance. Until next time, remember, insurance isn't just about policies. It's about safeguarding the mission God has called you to lead.